Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing for the assignment 2, task 2, question C. We need to transfer the data from one virtual machine to another virtual machine and vice versa. So basically we have already created two virtual machines, one for MongoDB, another for MS SQL DB in GCP console using Ubuntu OS. So basically we need to transfer data from one VM to another and vice versa without using API. That is the expectation. So let's start. Okay, so let's start. We're transferring the data from one VM to another and vice versa. Recording is on. Okay, so I am already logged into GCP console. Let's go to compute engine and VM instances. Okay, so this one I have created for MS SQL DB, this one I have already created for MDB. It is now stopped. Let's start this VM instance as well. It will take some time to get the VM instances started. Let's wait. Yeah, so MongoDB is already up and running. Let's see via SSH window. Okay, so now let's try to verify whether MongoDB is up and running or not. This is the official documentation from MongoDB which I referred to install MongoDB on Ubuntu virtual machine in GCP platform. This was the command to check whether MongoDB is up and running or not. Let's try to execute. Yeah, so here you can see in the Ubuntu virtual machine MongoDB is up and running. Okay, in another instances it was the SQL Server DB virtual machine which we have created and installed SQL Server DB. Let's try to connect via browser window. Okay, this was the command which we have used. This was the documentation. Now how to verify whether it is installed and up and running or not. This is the command. Yeah, so here also you can see SQL Server DB is up and running in this virtual machine. So now we need to transfer data from one VM to another and vice versa. Okay, so for this I'll be using puttygen to transfer data. Okay, and from puttygen we can generate public and private key. Okay, let's try to generate. Okay, so now the public key and private key is generated. We need to, here the key command is basically the username. So I can see, let's say we are trying to use MongoDB now. So let's try to give the name like mdb user. mdb user. Okay, now let's save the private key. Okay, so we have saved the private key for this mdb user, and the public key is available here. Let's try to connect via the private and public key by putty. So for this is the MongoDB instances. I'll go there. Here I need to edit. Here one thing is there, like in the SSH part, and there is option to add SSH key. I have already added something, so in this demonstration I will be adding a new one. Let's try to add the public key. This is the public key available, we have generated by putty gen. I have copied and pasted the public key. I will save it. Okay, so now we have added the public key for MongoDB instances. Let's try to connect via putty. Open putty. Here basically I need to select the private key first. Into SSH authentication, here I need to select the private key. Assignment to mdb private key. Go to session. Now I need to put the IP address. Here for MongoDB, this is the IP address. I will copy it and paste it here and try to connect. Let's see. And username is mdb user. Okay, yeah, so we are connected via mdb user for the MongoDB virtual machine. Okay, now we can connect via WinSCP as well for transferring data. Okay, this is the WinSCP I have installed in my system. Let's try to connect via WinSCP as well. This is the host name, this is the username mdb user. Port is default 22, and now I need to select the private key as well. Here the authentication part, I need to select the private key from mdb private key. Okay, let's try to log in. Yes, so we are now logged in via WinSCP as well. Okay, and the location is /home/mdb user 40. You can see this is the /home/mdb user. If we simply do ls, there is nothing. Okay, now coming to the SQLDB1, we need to we can connect via putty to the SQLDB as well for this virtual machine. So let's try to create a new public and private key for this. Let's try to generate. Okay, so now the public and private key is generated. Let's try to use it. Okay, so username I have mentioned SDB-user. Let's try to save the public and private key. Private key SDB, I'll be saving it. Private key. This is the public key for this. This is the username for this. Okay. Go to the SDB. We need to add the public key here. Need to edit. Okay, so this is the public key. I will copy and paste it in the SSH part. I have added the public key. I'll go ahead and save. Okay, so now let's try to connect via putty. I'll open a new session. I'll go to authentication. I'll browse the private key for SDB. This is a private key, and I'll go to terminal. Now we need to copy the IP address for this HTTP VM instances. This is the IP address. I'll copy and paste. This is the IP address. Let's try to connect. Username is HTTP-user. Yeah, so we are connected via putty for this server as well. Okay, now next try to connect via WinACP as well. Create a new session. Hostname, this is the hostname. Username is HTTP as user. Port is default 22. Go to advanced option. Authentication part, we need to select the private key. Let's try to log in. Yeah, so we are logged in for HTTP user as well, and at instance we have logged in by MDB user as well for these two servers. Okay, so now we need to transfer file from one VM to another. Let's try to do. this is the like for MongoDB server we are here. Let's if you do ls nothing is there, let's try to create some file. Okay, so for MongoDB server we have created this file mongodb.txt. If we see the content of the mdb-file.txt, it is my mdb file only. We have created this file in MongoDB virtual machine. Now we can transfer this file from MongoDB to HDB. This is for MongoDB. You can see this MongoDB, this text file is there. Okay, let's try to copy in our local system. Yeah, local system we have already there. Now from the local system we can copy to HDB virtual machine. Yeah, so from the MongoDB virtual machine we have transferred the file to SQLDB virtual machine. And now similarly we can from SQLDB you can transfer from one file to MongoDB. Let's try to do. Here you can see HDB MongoDB file is there in the HDB virtual machine. Here the HDB file I have created. Now we can transfer the file from HDB virtual machine to MongoDB. Refresh, HDB file is there. Let's try to transfer it. Now HDB file is there. We can transfer to the MongoDB virtual machine. Yeah. If you do ls -l, you can see two files, and for HDB and for MongoDB if you do ls-l, we can see two files. So files are getting transferred from one VM to another and vice versa. Okay, so this is how without using any API we have transferred the data from one VM to another. This is the MongoDB virtual machine to SQLDB virtual machine. So this is about the task 2 question C. Without using API you need to transfer the data from one VM to another and vice versa. Okay, that's it for this assignment task. Thank you.